Okay, first I need to correct this little mistake. The enemy plot function was in the move function instead of in the plot. Okay, now that is correct. Okay, time for enemy animations. Okay, so we need 2 sprite string arrays instead of 1, of course. I've decided to make 2 sprites for every enemy, but you can do more if you want. So let's name them sprite 1 and sprite 2. Okay. So what do we need? Okay, so since we're only switching between 2 different sprites, we can send a Boolean variable, let's say first, to the plot function, which will determine which sprite to actually plot. So let's create another string array sprite, which we set to either the first sprite or the second sprite, depending on the state on the first Boolean variable. And then we plot the new sprite. That's pretty much it. Let's go to enemy 1 and change the sprite to sprite 1. Same thing with the enemy 2 and enemy 3 files. Okay, back to enemy 1. It's time to copy the sprite 1 and create the second sprite. Okay, let's erase this and create empty strings, and then go to the file where we had the sprites that I designed, and then copy the second one for the first sprite. Second row, and then the final row. Okay, so there we go. And then we do the same procedure for the enemy 2 and enemy 3 classes. Copy and create a second sprite, and then copy the second sprite from this file. First row, and the second one, and finally the last one, of course. Alright, enemy 3, same thing again. Sprite 2, and then just copy the second one. Alright, here we go. And then the final one, final row. Alright, so now we have all the sprites we want for the enemies. Perfect. Looks good. Alright, so what do we do next? Let's see. Let's go to the enemy base. Looks good. Okay. To the enemies file. So here we need a few new variables. We need a new int for the animation, an animation counter. We need a constant, which will be the animation initial speed. Animation init speed, I will set that to 12. Okay. What else? We need a private int animation speed variable. That is because we don't want to compare the animation counter to the animation init speed. Instead, we have an animation speed, which will initially be set to the animation init speed, and then as the game progresses, we will increase the animation speed. But for now, we'll set it to animation init speed. In the plot function, we increase the animate counter, and then we compare the animate counter to the animation speed, and while it's less than the animation speed, we'll just return. Otherwise, we reset the animation counter to 0, and that's it for the counter. Okay, now we need to send an argument to the enemy plot function. Let's create a new bool variable. Okay, over here, private bool. Let's call it first animation. In the constructor, we set the first animation to true, and then down here in the plot function, we just need to change it to true if it was false and the other way around. And then we just send the first animation to the enemy plot function. Alright, we set the first animation to true in the constructor, but the first thing that will happen in the plot function is that we change it. So let's set it to false, so that the first animation will be drawn first. Not that it matters, but... Okay, so let's try it out. Wonderful. Okay, we have cute little animations. Looks wonderful. Okay, let's try for fun to decrease the value 12 to 4 and try it again. Okay, the animations are now much quicker. So we're done with the animation. Wonderful.